5 heroes form an international squad towards the end of World War II to completely wipe out the Axis threat before they have the chance to escape with a path towards resurgence. We finally got more details on the main characters to Vanguard. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. So how is it going, Dank Division? Dank Dan here, and we are going to be discussing Call of Duty Vanguard. More particularly, we're going to go into a brief biography of 5 protagonists as well as the main antagonist of Call of Duty Vanguard. For those of you who want to hear more information on regards to the behind the scenes stuff, I will leave a link to Call of Duty's official YouTube video on that, as who better to describe it to you than the people actually working on the game themselves, because I lack the ability to go in depth into the details. But without further ado, let's dive in to the first person that we will be talking about, none other than Sergeant Arthur Kingsley. The same Arthur Kingsley that if you pre-order this game, you can use him in Cold War and Warzone. But please don't use his Warzone skin because, ugh, Christ. But Arthur Kingsley, the heart, the soul, and the leader of Task Force 1. Kingsley was born in the Douala region of Cameroon right around when it was the end of World War I, so it was split between British and French control. Eventually, as he grew older and was able to go to college, he attended the University of Cambridge right before enlisting in the British Army. Now, he's a man of nobility whose parents encouraged him to be multilingual. So on top of being able to speak English, he can also speak German, French, Portuguese, and Bantu, both the equatorial and northern dialects, which in his line of work proves quite useful. Now, it's also entertaining that he's gotten heavily into politics because as a little kid it was discussed around the dinner table. And what makes him interesting was that, like many characters that we have seen come before him, he is a natural-born leader, but what he fears most is falling into traditional patterns of the British Army, over-deliberating at times when his soldiers may be faced with a life-threatening situation. But that all represents a near unrivaled care for those who serve beside him. Kingsley works day and night to not only protect them, but to earn their respect. Pretty much, he wouldn't ask them to do any more than he would. So to his core, Arthur is a kind soul with a warm but mischievous little smile, and takes things to heart and harbors deep empathy for those close to him. He loves the comfort and warmth of his home life and family, and longs to see the war end for peace so that he may return. However, for the extreme of him feeling love, he harbors a deep resentment. Despite understanding the wrongs of the world, he is unable to right them. To that point, he has a strong sense of hatred and has no problem fighting against the Germans as well as the rest of the Axis to help protect his home and put an end to the dangerous ideas of Nazism propaganda. Now, the next operator we are going to be talking about is none other than Lieutenant Polina Petrova. Born and raised in Stalingrad, Polina is a soldier not by choice, but by a need to defend her country. So pretty much, Stalingrad just happens to be her childhood home, one where she lived, many happy memories, which include hunting with her father and brother. And even though she lost her mother about 10 years prior to the war, her reality was even more impacted by the brutal Axis invasion through Operation Barbarossa. Using the sharpshooting skills that she has acquired through hunting, she learned very quickly that the skills from her family make her a deadly asset to the Soviets. Petrova's story is one of vengeance and that of retribution for all that she and her community have lost. And for anyone who knows how Stalingrad goes, you know how brutal this is. Polina is a woman of few words, but when she speaks, it is said that it is with purpose and often leaves a powerful impact. She's content in pretty much working alone, only opening up to those she truly trusts and respects deeply, with a sharp and sarcastically educated wit. Now, although she barely shares what is on her mind, her actions speak for her own opinions. Often, she takes matters into her own hands, never waiting for anyone else, especially when her thirst for vengeance takes over and puts her in a blind rage. Whether by words or actions, Polina is driven by the desire to see her home free from Nazi invaders, and she is not afraid to put the personal pursuit above her duties every single time. Now, the next one we're going to be talking about is Private Lucas Riggs. Now, Lucas, how do we describe him? This man prefers actions over words, and although his personality is, how should I say, far from explosive, his method of dealing with threats is probably described about the same way. Highly combustible. So, he was a child of sheep farmers just outside of Melbourne, Australia. He worked with his family to tend the herd and collect wool. When World War II began, he doesn't even begin to hesitate. He just signs right up before conscription was even implemented. He was ready to see more of the world and fight a greater evil than the occasional petty mobster in his area. Riggs can be described best as an enigma. He would not take offense to this distinction, as he would understand people just as much as others understand him. To his allies, he's nothing more than a gentle giant, often being the life of the party, but not one to ever truly seek the spotlight. To his enemies, though, Riggs is an intimidating, brutal warrior of honor, standing up to wrongdoers and those who start conflicts with brute force. Ironically done via his specialty, which is something that we all love: explosives. Ultimately, Riggs is the definition of passion within a soldier, valuing his fellow squad mates and country above all else. He wants to show the world what Australians are truly made of. Now, this next one I am definitely excited to talk about, seeing as how both of my parents are from this exact borough, and that is Lieutenant First Class Wade Jackson. Now, this man is a Brooklyn boy. We're talking about a product of New York. Pilot Wade Jackson is more at home in the sky than he ever was on the ground. And, well, let's face it, he loves doing his own crazy stunts in the sky, even if the mission does not even call for it. So, being a first-generation American growing up in Brooklyn, Jackson is a rebel who often finds himself first to fight, especially if it's about respect for his family. Surprise, surprise. Bright, yet not engaged with traditional schooling, Jackson discovered his love for speed at the age of 16 through an after-school repair club. He and his friends often took the vehicles at the shop for joyrides on the newly opened parkway, where he would be the only daredevil able to tame the road's dangerous curves at high speeds. His newfound rigor for adrenaline paid off after high school, when he accepted being enlisted through the Navy Aviation Cadet Program and earned his pilot wings in a dive bomber. Since then, he's become a true force in the Pacific, This man, charismatic and enthusiastic, he enjoys a good challenge and relishes the prospect of showing off his natural talents in the spotlight to prove he is the very best. Granted, he's egotistical and considers himself special, believing he can fix every problem through bold action. He would rather be a lone wolf, but welcomes competent team members so long as they don't get in his way. Now, the last protagonist we will be discussing is Sergeant Richard Webb. Now, although he shares the same rank as his squad mate Arthur Kingsley, Sergeant Richard is Kingsley's right-hand man, friend, and confidant. Webb pretty much grew up in a family of academics. Following in his parents' footsteps, he pursued a professorship track at the university where they worked. In doing so, he had no intention of joining the fight in World War II. He felt secure that his graduate work would make him exempt from service. Well, the draft came a-knocking, and guess who reluctantly joined the army? Yeah, that's right. Poor bastard. He knows his country needs him for war, but he sees no honor in the duty. Rather, he sees soldiering as a job that must be done if there is any hope of life to return to normalcy. Now, he has no illusions of glory, no passions to volunteer for a high-risk assignment. Webb often takes the cautious and calculated approach to everything, using his intelligence based in realism to come to the correct decision. So Webb pretty much believes his choice is always right, and his stubbornness derails discussions just as much as his perceived pessimism for how a situation could go wrong. Webb's defining moment is during Operation Tonga, where his style of leadership and that of Arthur Kingsley reaches a breaking point. What happens then, and what decision is made, is going to be up to you to discover when Vanguard's campaign drops. Now, the big question is, who's the big baddie? Who's the main antagonist that you will be going toe-to-toe with in this game? It's not the Führer. It's not Mussolini. The main antagonist of Vanguard's campaign is Hermann Freisinger. Now, he's an ambitious, arrogant son of a bitch Nazi officer working at the Gestapo's Berlin headquarters. He is the chief interrogator of the SS and the secret architect to the mysterious Project Phoenix. Born as an only child, which anyone who knows an only child, you know exactly what that means, to a wealthy family with a long history of military service, Freisinger served as a courier and information analyst during the later years of the First Great War. Following that, he served in the military police and then finally the Gestapo, rising quickly through the Nazi Party through his cunning and, of course, his tactical wit. Like many villains that came before him, ruthless and charismatic, Freisinger makes everyone in the room feel special, but uses this charisma to manipulate people into telling him what he needs to know. He's always trying to maximize what he can gain out of an individual, be it a colleague or an enemy, analyzing and remember even the tiniest detail about them to get what he needs. His goal is to live up to his family's reputation within the military and continue the great lineage of his namesake. He doesn't see much value in winning individual battles, as he understands that to win a war, you must outsmart and outmaneuver your opponents at all times. Ultimately, Freisinger is willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to ensure that Project Phoenix is realized. Now, as you are all aware, Vanguard drops on November 5th, and there's going to be more intel as time progresses, so keep an eye out on Activision Call of Duty and Sledgehammer Games accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because they'll be dropping even more information as we get closer. And speaking of which, at some point during this month, it has been confirmed, we will get a closer look at Treyarch's next chapter of zombies for Vanguard. So with that being said, that is all I have for you guys for tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, leave a like and don't forget to click that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below. Whose story are you more curious to see? Which character are you looking forward to playing as the most? And if you have a least favorite character already, who is it? And I'd love to hear why. So with that being said, you guys have a wonderful day, night, whatever you're doing, do it wholeheartedly. And as always, never forget, you guys are the meta. And this is Dank Dan, signing off.
Get them to hit that subscribe button, Dank. It's the only way we can figure out the numbers.
15.
What do the numbers mean, Dank? We're wasting valuable time.